Okay, there we go. Mic's on. That was weird. Sorry. My cam was off and my mic was also off. That was weird as hell. So I apologize about that. Welcome in everybody. Appreciate y'all being here. Just letting y'all know it is gonna be a short stream. So yeah, just letting you guys know that it's gonna be a little short stream tonight. I'm exhausted. I do apologize about that, but I need sleep. We will talk though. Like I always said, I'll give you guys always an hour no matter what. So we will have an hour here, as I get things going on stream. Quite a game to talk about. I'm shocked that the Bulls kept themselves in it. So props to the Bulls for staying in this one. In the end though, they did lose this. So overall, really rough. Rough way to end that sort of game, I would say. Yeah, I appreciate that. They gave it a good try, but in the end, the Cavs are just the Cavs honestly might just go undefeated this year. They got past the 13 number, so they got past the curse number, and so now they're just on their way to having an undefeated season. So congrats. The Bulls defense is such an issue. I can't say it enough. But we won't be talking about that on here. I think we have a lot of things we need to talk about on here that don't just relate to what happened to tonight, more so what's going to happen in the future with some current players, because there's a lot going on. Hi, Viper Strike. Fully, I'm a ability defender because people are so quick to throw him under the bus, but Montes deserve more minutes. I agree. Sound is, yeah, I noticed the sound was off. I do appreciate the heads up, though. Yeah, Buzelis played so well in that first half. And then he just, like, Billy's just like, yeah, you're not going to get really anything else, you know? Odd. It's just odd. I agree. So, that has been my one, like, major gripe with Billy all season long, has been that Buzelis is just, like, even when Buzelis plays well, it seems like he doesn't, like, earn the minutes. He's like, yeah, you got your minutes. All right, you're done now. Sorry. And that just sucks. Like, it really just sucks to see that for Buzelis. I mean, he hit his 2 threes. He had a block. Like, I don't know what else you want from him. Like, you're playing him a few minutes. Like he put up 9 points in limited time with the block. Like, I can't really ask for much more, honestly. He moved really well, and so yeah, he just didn't play after that for whatever reason, which really sucks. Yeah, interesting decisions by Billy there, but we got other things to talk about. Zach winning player agenda over. I mean, I don't really think that's the case. I think Zach obviously just didn't have a shot tonight. Were there moments where I think he maybe forced a shot here and there? Sure. But I think usually the whole argument about Zach is that when he's not hitting his shots, then he doesn't do anything else. I mean, the dude had 9 assists tonight. And I think that defensively, while no one really did anything spectacular defensively tonight, you saw that he's still trying. So, I mean, if anything, I think you actually still saw that when Zach did leave the floor, like they were having issues still without him out there. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Zach's winning agenda is over, or winning player agenda is over. I'm just here saying that, like, hey, you know, he had effort. It sucks that he couldn't hit a shot tonight. Obviously, if he goes out the next night and does the exact same thing, then sure, you can start saying that. But I don't expect Zach LaVine to only put up 8 points in 2 consecutive games. So, you know, it's a bad night. And honestly, with the way that he couldn't hit a shot, I don't mind the way he was playing. I think he played fine. One of the biggest things which you guys can't see is he only had 1 turnover tonight. So, even though that he couldn't get his shot going down, it wasn't like he was throwing the ball away. So one of the major issues about Zach has been the turnovers, and he did a good job of limiting that tonight with the 9 assists. So, yeah, it sucks that this was the game that he went cold, right? Because let's say Zach was the Zach that we saw against Cleveland at home, right? Then the Bulls might have a chance to win this one, like a really good chance. But because he went cold tonight, offense had to come from other places, like where Kobe and Vooch were doing. I also to an extent. And Patrick Williams is also having another good game in a row, so that's a really good sign. It just wasn't enough at the end of the day. So props to those guys though. Like, they all, I think, stepped up really well. It just obviously it wasn't enough to get the win tonight, especially because Zach did go cold. So Yeah, not too bad overall from everybody. And I really have to give Vooch his shout out because he's proving me wrong this year. His post ups look really solid all of a sudden. So this continues and fantastic. Yeah, that's great for him. But this would be the anomaly. This is not the normal for him. I want to make that clear. So he's proving me wrong right now. We'll see if that continues throughout the year. But right now he's making me look like an absolute idiot. So props to Vooch. He's really worked on something. Don't know exactly what it was. Like, two dudes were in foul trouble right away and he played well. How is he not on the floor? I agree, man. Like, I don't understand. Like, Julian Phillips, I think, was playing all right as well, but Julian Phillips got 21 minutes tonight, and Buzelis just got, like, 6 before garbage time or whatever it was. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I know, like, Phillips is probably a little bit, like, just more secure defensively at the moment just because Buzelis is a rookie, but, yeah, I agree. I don't understand. Also, Zach's right, they're defending him the hardest. I do think that the Cavs were like hella on Zach, especially early on. My only thing is that I do think Zach needed to maybe really look for some jump shots when Kobe started to get doubled. That's when the game sort of shifted where Kobe was the one getting doubled because he was so hot. And the Cavs were very scared about Kobe, and so Zach needed to like start looking for some jump shots in that sort of scenario. But he didn't. Like, it was still kind of like a little, it was the offense had some moments definitely in that late game that weren't exactly amazing. So yeah, I think that was like that's my only big critique. Like, if Zach like was just being absolutely hounded all game and he got 9 assists with 1 turnover and, you know, only single digit points, but he's being like absolutely just guarded, like double teamed, like that's fine. But I do think that when Kobe started to get doubled, that he needed to look a little bit more for his own shot instead of looking to pass a lot more. He tried to draw some fouls, so I appreciate that. But he just, for some reason, will never get the foul call. I think Jared Allen fouled him twice. They just didn't call it. So, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is at the end of the day. Still, though, I mean, like, if this is what you could say is Zach's second game where it's kind of like, or I guess this is easily his worst game of the year, right? And which is not that bad of a game overall. His other bad game was against the Magic when he, you know, had the shoulder thing going on. But other than that, I mean, there's nothing really else to say. Like, it's been pretty good no matter what. So I'm not too concerned about it, honestly, at all. I don't think teams are gonna be like, oh my god, it's been that was a horrible game from Zach. He's just bad again. Like, no, I don't think that's necessarily the case. All right. I have to immediately go to this because this is, I already know, it's been a long discussion already on Twitter and it's already being discussed now. Predictions for next game. So the Bulls, if you're wondering the next game for the Bulls play again on, I believe, Sunday. Yeah, they play on Sunday against the Houston Rockets. Bulls are back at home. Who's starting at point guard on Sunday for the Bulls? I'm being dead serious right now. Who do you think is starting at point guard for the Bulls on Sunday? Because, you know, I was a guy that I made a prediction at the start of the season that I said no matter what happened, Josh Giddey would be starting every single game, even if he played bad, even if he things weren't going well, you know, just everything. Like, unless he was injured, I said that Josh Giddey would be starting every single game. I won't lie, I don't feel too good about that anymore. Like, I did also make the prediction that I do think that there are gonna be games where Donovan closes with Ayo instead of Giddey, and that has already come to fruition. The last 3 games have shown that, and then even tonight has shown that. But suddenly now we are here, and we're actively like, oh my god, is Josh Giddey gonna be starting on Sunday? Billy pretty much benched Giddey immediately off the bat tonight. I know Giddey had some foul trouble, but I don't know if you guys saw, but Ayo was basically ready to check in at like the 9:20 mark or something of the first quarter. The Bulls gave up another 3 to Mitchell, so Donovan called a timeout to make that switch, and Giddey was already out of the game at that point. So that wasn't a foul trouble substitution. That was just I want to make a switch this quickly into the game. And that to me is like Donovan, in my opinion, is very like he gives a lot of leash to guys. Like I know that we've been talking about like Patrick Williams a lot, has been like kind of like, you know, he over the years he hasn't closed games either. But when you really think about it though, like Donovan has, no matter what, he has started P-Will almost every single game. Or almost like a lot of the games throughout his career. And even when he didn't start, like he was playing at least a good chunk of minutes. Like you knew that P-Will was still getting his minutes. Obviously we're already talking about Buzelis kind of getting he's like in the Donovan doghouse right now where he's not getting minutes or enough minutes, but that's a rookie situation. Donovan is usually pretty player friendly. And right now right with Josh Giddey, he is not he's not giving Josh Giddey any room for error at the moment. Of like on the defensive end, if he sees Giddey is like just not doing anything like right, and I'm just saying right, I'm not saying well, I'm saying that if he sees Giddey out there and he's like, you know, doing stuff incorrectly, like there is no second chance honestly with him. And I just wonder how many second chances has he given Giddey and already in his mind? Because now it looks like it's just like it's over. Like Giddey is already kind of just on the bench, and he's already being used in limited situations. I'm just interested. I'm just interested to see. I don't know what exactly is the correct decision here. Sorry, I'm trying to turn my light brighter. But I'm just shocked that we're already here, and this was game 12. This was game 13, excuse me. So we're already here where Donovan is already at the point where he is taking Giddey out quickly. He's not closing with Giddey already, and that happened like 3 games ago. So he's already not closing the game with Giddey. He's already making Giddey as the first substitution early in the game. And Giddey's not coming in really, from what we've been seeing, not even just in this game, but like in other games too, where he's coming in for like short bursts. Donovan really does not like Josh Giddey's defense, and because Giddey isn't necessarily providing much on offense right now, you're looking at a guy yet again where we're here now on a new team, and his role is being diminished. Exactly what happened in Oklahoma City is happening to him now. And I'm just like, here we are again having this discussion because it's the thing that we're going to be talking about all year long. So, I mean, look, I'm just saying that, like, if it was my decision, I'm still starting Giddey, right? Like, I'm still starting Giddey on Sunday. I still stand by my 25 game rule of like everyone gets 25 games and then we'll make a decision from after that. If things are still bad after that, then obviously make a major switch. But I still, if I was running the team, I'm still giving Giddey the time here. I'm still letting him start. Does he need to close every game? No, but he's still starting because at least guarantees him like 25 minutes a night unless he's in foul trouble. But right now, man, I don't know. With the way that Donovan put Ayo out there to start the second half, like that was shocking to me. I did not expect that. I could see Donovan making a very quick substitution where he takes Giddey out very quickly in the second half, but he didn't do that either. He just was like, no, Ayo starting second half, Giddey on the bench, and that was just shocking. I was actually shocked that happened. Donovan again doesn't usually do this sort of stuff, so I think it's a big tell right now because Donovan, I think, gives a bigger leash to a lot of guys, and right now, like, Giddey doesn't have that leash at all. So we went from Giddey's, we talked about his good 3-point shooting. He's looking really solid for 3-point range, and people talking about, oh, he had a couple of games where he was playing like really well, and he was being an active player, helping the Bulls win. And now suddenly we're here now, and it's now 13 games in, like it's a completely different conversation suddenly. Is he going to even start on Sunday? Like that's the conversation that we're having at the moment. I'm interested to see what Donovan says post game here as press conference. I said Giddey, so we lose for sure. I mean, I won't lie, man. Giddey's, if you're not aware of this, and again, plus minus is not perfect, but like there's one guy that stands out that only played 15 minutes tonight due to foul trouble, and his plus minus is negative 27. In 15 minutes, due to foul trouble, he went negative 27. So, for reference, that means that in the time that Giddey was on the floor, the Bulls went down 27 points when he was just out there. Like, isn't that just insane to think about? Again, plus minus is not perfect. I think plus minus is not a perfect stat. Because you could actually be playing well, but if the other team's gonna run, then you know you get docked the plus minus. But I mean, unfortunately, the reality is like Giddey's plus minus is the worst amongst the team. So you take that information with whatever you want. Like if you want to actually use it, use it. If you don't want to use it, then don't use it. I'm fine. But it, like here we are. Like it's just, yeah. I'm just shocked that we're here already. So I'll be interested to see what happens on Sunday. I actually think Iowa has a really good chance of starting on Sunday, and I did not think we'd be here. Already saying that. My question is, people, am I most improved agenda coming? Not most improved player agenda, but he is definitely playing a lot better. So Pat has now made it 3 straight games, right? He's made it 3 straight games where he's put up really good performances on both ends of the floor. He isn't like taking a lot of shots, but he's being extremely efficient, better decision making. He looks a lot better just in general. He's playing a lot. His first step quickness is a little bit better. And I'm happy. Like I think this is really good for Pat. Obviously he had the career high. I think it was 8 assists tonight. No, it was 9 assists tonight. Which is great for him. Like congrats to him with that. That's not going to happen every night. Obviously, like 9 assists from people is not going to happen. But we've now gotten many games in a row now where Pat's shooting the 3 ball well. He's making better decisions when to attack the basket, and he's finishing better, and just being better overall as a player. So that's 3 games in a row. I said 5, right? So I'm like, hey, I'm aware that these have been some pretty good games in a row. So after 1, I say, hey, give me 2. After 2, I say, give me 5 now because you've done it back-to-back games. So now he's at 3. So this is good. I'm just hoping that yet again it's just like, can you continue this? That's obviously the big question. It's just, can you continue playing this well from game to game to game? And I think it's a really good sign that he was able to play this way against one of the better teams in the NBA, right? The Cavs are undefeated. He was able to actually have a really solid game against probably right now what people would say is a contender, and do it really effectively. So I think his defense, you know, Mitchell hit that dagger over him. I'm like, I think that's great defense. I'll take it every day of the week. And I'm hoping that this can keep up, because if P-Will can do this, right, where I don't need 17 every game, but like if he gives me like 15 every game, shoots the 3 ball well at about 40% clip, good defense, like, hey, here we go. This is the P-Will that we've been looking for. It's not asking for, a 20-point per game score. We're just being like, hey, be a starter. And he's done that recently, and I'm proud of him for doing it, and let's just continue doing this. Yeah, so once you give me those 5 games in a row, then if he has an off night, I'm like, okay, then it's all right. Move on to the next game and let's do it again. Let's figure out how you can get back to that, or just go out and do your normal thing. So yeah, I'm really happy. I'm happy with P-Will that maybe he's finally getting his legs underneath him. Maybe he's finally understanding, like, okay, this is how you play in this offense. It's a faster pace, obviously, but he needs to seriously seek out his own timings to score effectively and efficiently. Lower the mid-range shots, which I think he's done, and just shoot the 3 ball with full confidence, which he's doing that more recently. So continue doing it. For me, I'd like to know what is Billy's job. Is it to win games? Then he shouldn't start him. If he's positioned and developed, then start him. So I honestly think that no matter what, like, I've always said this about coaches, unless it's like they're tasked to like actively not win a game. But in my opinion, just like the players and everyone else that is on that team going out and playing games or being part of games, I think your job is to win no matter what. You're being paid to win games. So players, coaches, whoever, I always think that their job is to just try to win as many games as possible. So Donovan, that's why Donovan is doing this, right? Like Donovan is benching Giddey because out of right now, honestly, what you can make the argument right now, out of the starting lineup, who's the worst player? Like right now, with the way that people has been playing recently, you could argue it's Giddey. Maybe not through the entire season so far, but with the way that things currently look like right now, the worst player in the starting lineup is arguably Giddey. Is Isle better than Giddey? I think that's also another argument you can have at the moment. So, for Donovan, it's just about like, which players do I think are the best, and how can I actively try to win this game? And he's going out and benching a guy that doesn't play defense, so it makes a lot of sense. He also, Giddey, like his 3-point shooting is, I think, falling back down to at least par. So we're just gonna have to find out what par is, right? I've said this a lot. It's like we knew Giddey's not going to shoot 43% for 3-point range for the entire season, right? We've known this, but what's par for him? What's average? And you know, it just continues to not go it's just going to continue to go down. So it's like, what is going to be par? I mean, he's still shooting 40%, so he has a ways to go here, but we're gonna have to find out what is par for Giddey in terms of his 3-point shooting. And once we do, and if it's the wrong side of the 30%ers, then it's not looking great for him, right? Yeah, Giddey and Kobe just can't start in the same team when they're both cones, especially with Zach as a wing. I mean, but here's the thing though, like replace Zach LaVine with, prime Kawhi Leonard. Are you still starting Giddey and Kobe if those were your two options? Like, you're probably not, right? I just think that you're just better off with just putting Kobe at point at this point. Like, put Kobe at point, put someone at the two that can actually shoot the ball, that is going to play at least solid defense and shoot it more consistently and efficiently. Like, this is where we're at. This is just the reality of Josh Giddey. Season's not over. I'm not saying that his season's over, it's all over, and he's not getting paid a new contract or whatever. I'm not saying that, but he's gonna have to actively change himself as a player right now. Like, he has to find a way to change himself as a player in the middle of the season. So I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what exactly he can do, because I don't think he's gonna suddenly become a 40% 3-point shooter on higher volume than he is taking now, which we know, like, yeah, like I see 40% now, but I mean, he went 1 for 5 tonight, and the Cavs are just leaving him wide open. So very clearly, the teams are just still letting him shoot the ball. Like, they're like, yeah, go ahead. And he's not gonna suddenly gain more athleticism so they can finish better at the basket. So it's honestly just he's gonna, in my opinion, have to just start shooting that 3 ball with so much more consistency and actively try harder on defense. Like, we're not asking for you to be an all-time defender here. We're just asking you to try, and I just feel like he's not even trying on some of these possessions. That foul on Garland that he did when he picked up his 4th, I was just like, I understand Garland is faster than you, but this is the NBA, man. Like, that actually looked like Giddey was stuck in quicksand, and Garland went right by him, like way too easily on an ISO. I'm not saying that Giddey should stop him. I'm just saying that I expect a better effort, especially when you know that you have 3 fouls heading into that possession. So, yeah. How much are you paying Giddey? I'm letting the market dictate, honestly. If I'm the Bulls right now, like, let's say the season ended tonight and we have to make a decision on Giddey, I'm just letting the market dictate. I'm just like, go ahead and try to find a contract. Like, we'll give you the qualifying offer, and that's it. And you just go find a contract. If ideally, in my opinion, like, if I had to make a guess of how much Giddey's value is right now, it's like mid-level exception worth. So we're looking at like, what, 13 million or something like that. Let me just double check that. Yeah, so we're here. So it's close to 13, so 12.8 mil, right? Like I think this is honestly what he's gonna get. But yeah, I'm being real. I'm just kind of like, yeah, go find a team that's gonna be willing to pay you like extremely good money right now. Because that sure as hell ain't it. Talking about defense, did you see the defense Luka brought the other night against the Jazz? I did, yeah. And John Collins got the dunk because Jordan Clarkson's face was funny. Yeah, man, that was insane. Luka, obviously, you know, he took blame, and props to Luka for taking blame, but this has been an issue with Luka for a bit now, so I don't know. Yeah, that was bad. That was awful. Like, bro, you aren't Luka to not try, and even then his defense cost his team games. Yeah, like, yeah. So yeah, man, like, once again, I just want to make this clear. I'm not here to try to bash Giddey. I'm not here to say I want Giddey to fail. I'm not here to be like, I'm right, you're wrong, or whatever. I want Giddey to succeed. But it's just, we just have to be just real about this guy. What literally happened to him in Oklahoma City is happening to him now in Chicago. He asked to be traded from Oklahoma City because he thought that he wasn't going to be part of the main roster, or like, you know, the main group of guys of being an actual like ball handler, being part of the main offense and initiating things. So he's like, I want to go to a team that's going to actually do that. And he's now gone to a team where he is being benched at the start of the second half because his defense is not good enough, and the Bulls just have better playmakers or guys that they would much rather initiate the offense with Ayo, Kobe, and Zach. Like, you would much rather just initiate your offense with those three guys than with Josh Giddey at the moment. And because Giddey isn't a reliable three-point shooter, he can't stay on the floor. So it's just like, we're just writing the same story again. So let me ask you this then, to you guys. Like, I gave you my answer. Like, if I was paying Giddey, I'm like, mid-level exception, maybe. But still, I would actually just be like, go find a contract. We'll match it if you get one. And just see if any team's gonna be willing to pay him. But what are you guys paying Giddey right now? Like, if the season ended tonight and you had to make a decision on Josh Giddey on what to pay him in restricted free agency, what are you paying him? Because I've seen a lot of talks already on Twitter. People are like, this guy asked for 30 mil. Yeah, not happening. Like 30 mil a season, I should say. Like that is not gonna happen. And I already said that, like, there's no way that was gonna happen. Like, even if he had a good year, unless he became like an all-star, then obviously great. But he wasn't gonna get that. So people are like, okay, 20 mil then. Well, that's like Patrick Williams money. Are you paying Josh Giddey right now Patrick Williams money? I think a lot of us would say no, for a reason. Obviously, we're seeing the reasons tonight. So, yeah, we're at that spot again. What's going on, Rob? Did you hate the game? I didn't hate this game. I think it was an entertaining game. I think the Bulls' defense obviously was atrocious, but their offense kept them in it. Props to their offense for keeping them in it after giving up 49 points in the first quarter. And there's nothing really to complain about this game, in my opinion. Obviously, Zach not playing well is, I think, the biggest complaint, or in terms of his shooting. But I think Zach overall was okay. But you swung the ball was popping around. You had 32 assists tonight. You had shot 42 threes. You made 46.7 or 47.6% of them. Like, that's great. Shot 51% from the field. Like, that's also great. Like, nothing really to really complain about. I'm just here. This is a game I expected the Bulls to lose, so I'm not like here, oh my god, we could have had that one, which the Bulls could have had this one, but I'm not like freaking out over it, because I do expect good teams to close this one out, and the Cavs are obviously undefeated. But I'm here talking like, bro, I I cannot believe at the start of the third quarter, Josh Giddey was benched to start the third quarter. Like that, I never thought that would happen this season, and it's happening in the 13th game of the season. That's insane to me. I never thought that would happen this season, and we're here in the 13th game, and we're talking about it right now. It's just insane to me. So, yeah, that's kind of what's been the theme of this stream so far. Giddey had 3 fouls. I guess third. Instead of trying Thielen, Julian, and Matas, he goes Giddey after Ios fourth, and then Giddey kisses fourth. Yeah. I thought AK wanted a ball movement team, not a Giddey-led team. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're completely right, Salty Solution. But AK thought that Giddey would be a major part in, having more ball movement, because Giddey's not like... Giddey, as a point guard, is a pass-first point guard, doesn't really handle the ball a lot. So he thought that Giddey would be a major part of the ball movement. And I think you could say that Giddey's been a pretty decent part of the ball movement in terms of opening up guys for shots, right? In terms of his passing, I should say, opening up guys for shots. His gravity, in terms of his playmaking, is not necessarily doing that, but his great passing is, giving back cuts to Zach, opening up or helping get shooters better looks or better angles, right? Transition opportunities where Giddey sees a guy open and he just flings the pass over. Like, that's been there. I agree with that, but that can't be your only trait, right? I'm sure there are a lot of great passers in the world, but like, if you're just a good passer, then that's not enough, right? The Matas the third or fourth quarter made no sense. I agree. I like the Matas Buell Smith front court. That first half, just wish Billy tried it at second. Hope he tries it more often. I think Billy he just doesn't trust the rookies, or I guess rookies like Buzelis right now in like a close game in the second half. Like, that's the reason why he's playing Buzelis a lot in the first half, is because he's probably most likely not going to play in the second half, especially if it's a close game. So that's Billy's decision. I agree with you though, Rob. Like, I don't understand it, but I agree. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't play Buzelis more. How much of Giddey and his point guard ability is the reason this offense is functioning in the modern era? Not a lot. It's a very short amount. Like, I would argue that everyone's 3-point shooting is a big reason why the offense is functioning a lot better. I'd argue that Vooch is obviously played a lot better in terms of, positioning and obviously just shooting the ball in general. But yeah, it's Giddey's like, we can see that the Bulls can still play this way without Giddey. I've said that. And we're still seeing it. Like, when Giddey goes to the bench, the Bulls are still playing fast. They're still shooting threes. Like, makes a lot of sense because he's not a 3-point shooter. Yeah. So just a college coach at heart, I think seniority is worth something as opposed to a traditional NBA coach that prioritizes talent. Well, okay, I guess so. When you say seniority, like, you're also saying, like, if they have like a veteran status in the league as well. I think that's partially true, because like I thought you also meant seniority as like, well, who's played for me longer. And that's not exactly right. The one rookie that Billy has played though has been Io. Now you can say it was kind of out of necessity in a sense, but that was the one rookie that Billy like actively was like, yeah, you're playing now immediately. So it's been true for most rookies under Billy, but it hasn't been true for all rookies. So I'll just make sure I'll just point that out. Imagine Casey reports their secret extension to Billy. I'm convinced to do in game. By the way, I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, Box, if Billy gets another secret extension. But this is the reason why I'm bringing this up, though. This is the reason why I'm talking about Giddey getting benched. Is this the thing that makes the Billy and the front office have some friction where they're upset with each other because the front office traded for Giddey, and they have to make a decision if they're going to pay him or not. And Billy is like, well, I'm not going to play him because he's not good on defense. He's not a good shooter. So I don't want to play him right now. Like, maybe this is the one thing that causes their downfall of their relationship. We'll see. I don't trust the front office and then go hire a better NBA head coach or anything like that. But, you know, maybe this is, they talk about the relationship all the time, but maybe this is the one thing that, you know, forces something in between them. But it's just crazy that we're talking about this now. I guess is there any players in particular that are benefiting more from playing with Giddey, like a Zach or Vooch? I mean, I would argue that Zach has benefited from Giddey the most, but that's it. Like, I guess you could maybe argue some he will, but we see though that Levine can operate without Giddey. Like he's fine without Giddey. He's done it many years without Giddey. Like, and so is everyone else on the roster. So. I played the Bulls had a lot of injuries as a rookie, but Io even before all the injuries to, you know, Lonzo, Caruso that year, Io was playing in the 5th game. Like Io actively was playing in the 5th game of the season. Do you remember when the Bulls made the comeback against the Celtics in TD Garden? Like the Bulls had like a 20+ point comeback in TD Garden, and Io hit a humongous 3. In that game. Like we're talking about like a pretty significant 3. Like Io, like even before all the injuries hit, Io actually got like jumped Troy Brown Jr. in the rotation that year. So like I'm just saying that like out of most rookies, you're right. Like most rookies have not played under Billy, right? Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, obviously Buzelis this year, right? Most guys have not played under Billy. They just haven't. But Io was the one rookie where he actually played under Billy. Like he consistently played under Billy his first year, even without the injuries. So I do agree though, like what Viper Strike has said, like it's like, yeah, he typically doesn't trust his rookies. So, you know, having more years of experience in the NBA is probably going to lead you to having a better chance to play. But the only argument against that, though, is just it's like, if that were the case, then Torrey Craig and Javon Carter would be playing more, because they're obviously vets and they're not playing right now. Yeah. Was this Giddey's second bad game? I mean, it's up to you to decide what you would consider a bad game. I'm not. Like, I'll just say this: I'm not thrilled with any of Giddey's games. Like, I'm not like thrilled by any of them. I think the best one was the one against the Magic where you hit those 3s. Like, I think that was like a really good one. But like, I'm not like exactly you're sitting here like, oh yeah, like this is a good game, this is a bad game or whatever. Like, it's kind of up to your discretion of whatever you think is good or bad. But if you want to like go through it, like I think you can argue this is not Giddey's second bad game or second bad game of the season. Like he's had more bad games than that, I would say. Okay, so here's his game log, just if you guys are wondering. So this New York one obviously kind of stands out. This like, see, people are gonna look at box score for Giddey for this game here, okay? But I am aware he had the 13 assists in this game, but I want to tell you first and foremost that he didn't get his 9 points until like garbage time. Like he didn't have 9 points until like late, and it was like the game was already over. But he shot 3 of 12 from the field, and he had the 13 assists, which is great. But I'm just like, I don't really care if you're gonna give me those 13 assists, and like I know that you're not gonna be like an actual scorer on a night-to-night basis, right? Not to mention that you're not giving me defense. So cool, 13 assists. I understand that you're a great passer, but that's not anything really spectacular. Even the previous game against the Mavericks, you could say, is not anything great either. 10 points and 5 turnovers, and yeah, 6 assists. But like I'm not like freaking out over that. So I don't know. It's up to you. Second is what I saw a lot through social media today. I wonder though, adding to the extra lies about how he's sudden growth for our young players. I'm like, what? Oh, Box. At this point, I'm just like, it's just so funny when I see that sort of stuff, because I'm just like, bro, like, if you're gonna tell me that like Zach is stopping Josh Giddey's growth, then what happened when Zach was out and the Bulls played Utah, Dallas, and Minnesota, and Giddey put up these stat lines, which, like, sure, 13 assists against Minnesota, but that wasn't anything. Like, I don't think that was a great game. 15 and 7 against Utah. Like, that's okay, right? Like, but it's not like Giddey had anything spectacular when Zach was out. So yeah, they're just out of their minds at this point. Yep. Ryan Surf has gotten to everybody. It's like, that's just like you said, Box. Unless you are actually Michael Jordan, which the Bulls fans would be upset if Michael Jordan got the Supermax in today's era. Like, they'd actually be upset, like, because they don't understand how money works. But it's okay. Actually, so here's actually my prediction though right now. I mean, we'll see how things go still. Like, I know the rumors that the Bulls are still going to try to trade Zach and trade Vooch come trade deadline. Again, we'll see about that. But if the Bulls are actively trying to like be relevant, which I don't know if they are, like I'm still trying to figure it out with them. Like, if I had to make a guess, the front office is trying to be relevant. They're trying to make the play in or make the playoffs, and they're not going to try to, like, really develop guys, but they're not going to be obviously good enough where they're spending a lot of money. So like, there's going to be young players that are going to have to play no matter what, because the team's not going to be spending until like the luxury tax or whatever. So it's like, there's going to be young guys playing no matter what. So it's always just to be like this confusing mix, right? Of like, what are the Bulls doing? Because of who you see on the floor. I do think right now that there is like a legitimate argument that if like you're trying to stay relevant, and I don't know how the Bulls would do it, but like if you're trying to, like, if you're not going the rebuilding route, like there is the argument just that you just keep Zach and you try to see what you can do with them. Like, maybe Zach and Kobe are obviously, like, we talked about this before, but like I don't understand a retool, because you traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, right? Which I said at the time, like, if you're gonna do a retool, you had to trade DeRozan, you had to trade Vooch earlier, and you had to trade Alex Caruso for actual value. And if you're gonna retool around Zach, that's how you had to do it. That obviously didn't happen. You didn't trade DeRozan for anything really. You got 2 second-round picks out of DeRozan when you could have gotten easily much more. You traded AC for Josh Giddey and you got no picks out of it, and then you still have Vucevic on the roster. So it's like, okay, well, there's that. But if the Bulls are actually just trying to stay relevant, then like I think right now that Zach might just be here. Whether it's the Bulls want him to stay here or they're just kind of forcing him staying here, then it is what it is. So if your hope is that he gets sent to a better team, I think that's pretty low. And it's not because the Bulls are, or like his like trade value is like all-time low or whatever, and the contract's an issue. It's like that's obviously a part of it, but I do think that the Bulls might just be thinking like, okay, well, if he's playing well, then we just keep him, and we just try to be relevant with him, which is just like, you've got to be kidding me, because you're playing into purgatory again. But yeah. If the Bulls pick 7th this year, Fox, I'm not kidding. Like, I'll be okay with that. Patrick Williams the second. I mean, I'm just going to say this. Once again, Hilo has played great the past 3 games. He has played really well, so I'm giving him his props there. Now, I have said though, like after the first game, I'm like, okay, make it 2. After 2 games in a row, I'm like, okay, I make it 5, right? So he needs to go out and so prove to me like this is not just a fluke and like he's gonna go out there consistently doing this. So I'm hoping that's gonna continue for him. But yeah, they're still up in the air for sure. Bills want to go in the right direction. The first move is to fire Billy. Well, I don't know if that's the first move. I think the first move is to fire the front office. If we're ranking it in terms of what would be the most impactful, it would be to fire the front office and get Jerry Reinsdorf the hell on out of here as owner. That would be the most impactful move. Now, we know what's possible, right? So we know that Jerry Reinsdorf will still be owner, and the front office is going to stay here forever. So those 2 are off the table. Now, what would be the most impactful move out of that with those 2, pieces set in stone? What is the most impactful move, like, to get the Bulls into the right direction as, like, the first deal of business? I think the first deal of business is just to try to see if you can trade Zach and Vooch for any sort of value. That would be the first deal of business, and maybe even consider trading Kobe. Billy, in my opinion, is not exactly the first thing that needs to, like, go in terms of success. Now, if you're trying to talk about immediate success, then sure. But if we're talking about long-term success, then I don't think getting rid of Billy is like the main priority. It'd be great, but it's not like the main priority. The main priority is to make sure that you set up your roster correctly for the future. Mostly average games for Giddey, then, I guess. I mean, what do you consider average, though, Rob? Like, if we're going off of these game logs for Giddey, right? Like, you're gonna tell me that. So 9 and 13, like, okay, sure. You want to say it's average because the 13 assists? Sure. I don't agree. He shot 3 of 12 from the field. He shot 25% from the field. We know he's a bad defender. Like, the 13 assists, I don't care. Like, I know you're a good passer, but like, you didn't score in this game. But 10 and 5, is that average? Like, I think that's a pretty overall poor game from Giddey. Or 10 and 6 or whatever. Like 15 and 7, okay, if you want to say that's average, fine. But like 11 and 8, like that's not average. Like that's below his averages. Like, you're not even getting up to your points per game average in that situation. So it's up to you whatever you think is average from Giddey. I think a lot are pretty below average because that I know that he's a bad defender. And knowing that he is not getting any better in terms of his scoring. So we're talking about a guy that people have told me, like, well, he's averaged 60 points per game before. It's just gonna go up. Like, he's just 21 years old, Duncan. I'm like, sure. Like, let's believe that his points per game average is gonna go up. 16 points per game is his career high his sophomore season. It's right now it's not going up. Like, that's just what I'm saying. Like, so in my opinion, the average for Giddey should be like, no matter what, it should be 16 points per game and 8 assists or whatever. That should be like your average for Giddey. If you're gonna tell me this guy was supposed to be the guy moving forward as like your franchise cornerstone, like, and leading the offense, then he better be at least averaging 16 and 8 for me. So I don't know, because now I think suddenly we're moving the goalpost again for him, where it's like, well, but he's been okay. Like, that's not enough. I made it clear that for Giddey to be okay, he needed to go out and average what he averaged his sophomore season. Like, this is okay in my opinion. You can't regress. That's not allowed here. You asked to be put into a situation where you think you can succeed. You asked for the spotlight. You asked for more opportunities with the ball in your hands. Go deliver. And automatically you're being benched now in the 13th game of the season in the second half. That's not like okay, or like it's average, oh, it's whatever, he's only 22. Like, no, the people told me that, well, he averaged 60 points per game before. He can easily increase that scoring average. Like, okay, so where's that? That hasn't happened yet. And you're telling me that this guy is supposed to come out and be the active, main ball handler, main playmaker of the future? Well, I don't see any signs that he's a better playmaker than Kobe White right now. So here we are. Like, I'm just saying, we can't move the goalpost where it's like, well, his season averages are this now, so like this is average. Like, no, the average for Giddey needs to be his sophomore season. That's average. So get there. That's what I expect from you at bare minimum this year, and you're not anywhere close to it right now. Defensively, he's lost out of this world, and I think this team is horrible defensively. So the bar's low. The bar's low, guys. Like, I want to make it clear. The bar for Josh Giddey is down here defensively. It is below my camera. You can't even see it. This team is terrible defensively. You don't need to be a good defender to play on this team. But he is so far down right now in terms of his defense that Billy is not allowing to play on this team. This team that's giving up 100. This team is averaging 120 points given up per night. And he can't play on this team right now because his defense is so bad. You're telling me that that's average? That's okay? That's not okay. Like, you have to understand that, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all, but look, I'm just saying right now, and like, I get animated when this sort of stuff happens, where it's like people, because look, I'm not just gonna let this go, because people have come into me, right? They're coming to this chat and have, you know, talked to me on Twitter and like, no, I like, why are you disrespecting Giddey? Like, you clearly haven't watched Josh Giddey in Oklahoma City. Like, you remember that comment when that happened on this channel? Like, I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, first off, don't ever say that to me, because that's ridiculous. But secondly, I'm like, listen, I've been pretty fair. I've been fair about when it comes to Giddey. Like, there are people on two ends of the spectrum. There's people like, oh my God, he's gonna be amazing here, and there's people that's like, no, like, he absolutely sucks. I'm like, okay, you know what? Here's my expectations for Giddey. You better hit them. Like, that was my big thing with Giddey. I'm like, you better hit these expectations, okay? I'm giving you a chance. I'm not here to say like, oh, it's already doomed for you, but I said this is it. Like, you have to hit these expectations. So a lot of people came into this chat saying, well, Duncan, he averaged 16 points per game in his sophomore season. He can easily average more. Like, he's just gonna get better. He was only 20 his sophomore season. He's only 22. I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, if you want to believe that, great. I respect that you're so optimistic about him, but in my opinion, I am not that optimistic. But if Giddey's gonna prove to me that he's gonna be like one of the guys in the future here, where he can be the point guard, then here's my expectations. You have to get up to 18 points per game then this year. Like, that's my expectations. I'm not moving from that. So we're at the point now where we're under that. Like, we're way under. We're at the point now where he's averaging basically his stats from last year or his rookie year. Like, it's the same stuff. Like, it's not like it's anything different. But now people are like, well, you know, like it's an okay game from him, or it's just average from him. Like, you know, look at his season averages. Like, that's a good average game. I'm like, well, I don't care. Like, I don't, if he's averaging below his, if he puts up a game where it's below his season averages, which his averages are already bad in my opinion, that's not average. I don't care about that. I need you to be better. There's nothing that you can do. So, like, I'm not specifically saying to you, Rob, I'm just saying for everyone else, because I feel like a lot of people on Twitter that were like the pro Josh Giddey, like, he's gonna be great, like, don't talk much. It's very funny because the last two games they've been very quiet. But it's just like, you can't move the goalpost. Like, you told me that this guy was supposed to come in and be the point guard of the future. So I'm like, okay, well, here are my standards for a point guard of the future. And now it's like, well, you know, bad game or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, it's this and that. Like, no, I don't care. This is the standard. So if he was right now averaging 16 points per game, then we're not having this discussion, because it's like, hey, you know, at least he's going up to 16 points per game and he's kind of getting there, but we're not like actively like freaking out at the moment, which a lot of people are. But because he has been overall not great this year, he has been horrific defensively, and nothing is telling me that he has become a better scorer. This is where we're at. We're ranting about it because now the Josh Giddey supporters try to keep moving the goalposts. Like, well, you know, it's Zach's on the team or whatever. I don't care. I don't care about that. Kobe White can average 20 points next to Zach LaVine. He's done it before. Or Kobe White averaged 20 points next to DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic last season. Okay? So if Kobe White can do it, then many people can do it. So if you're Josh Giddey, I'm not even asking you to average 20. No DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine's back, sure. But he's been pretty much he's been playing team offense. So go out and average 18. I'm not asking you to average 20. I'm asking you to average 18. And we're at 12.5 right now. You're getting benched because you can't play defense to start the second half. And don't tell me about the 40% three-point shooting. He's shooting 41% from the field. Like, the 40% three-point shooting, like, the teams are letting Josh Giddey shoot threes. Like, they're just like, yeah, shoot it. Go ahead. Like, we don't care. Before you know it's going to be, he's only 27, he can still have time, he's still young. I mean, like, yeah, it's a similar to kind of what we've been hearing from Pat, right? Now, props to Pat, he's actually, like, went out and performed well the past 3 games. So it's like, hey, at least I'm seeing something from Pat. With Giddey, like, we've gotten a game here and there where it's like, hey, yeah, he hit the 3-point shot, but, like, now we're now getting games where Giddey's not closing games. He hasn't closed the last 4 games, okay? He has not been in the closing line the last 4 games. And now Billy is benching him to start the second half. Like, we've gone from he's starting to playing 30-plus minutes a night to then he's not closing out games to then he's not starting in the second half. That's how fast we've gone. In a matter of, like, 6 games, we've gone from he's playing 30 minutes a night, closing games, to he's not closing games, to now he's not starting a second half. That's how fast we've gone with this. I want to make that clear. So, like I said, it's on Giddey. It's all on Giddey to just be better. He has to somehow, some way, which I don't know how he's going to have to do it. He has to reform his game in the middle of the season, which is very impossible. It's very hard to do, and I don't expect him to do it. But it's either he has to just start launching threes at a high volume and making, a lot more. And then defensively, again, the bar defensively to play on this team is down here. It's down here. It's not high, but we need you to try. That's all we're asking. And remember, to all the people that were like, well, Zach LaVine doesn't play defense, and, this person doesn't play that much defense. Well, if you're going to say that to certain players, then I get to say this to Josh Giddey, your guy that you've all said is the point guard of the future, the franchise cornerstone, the guy that is only 22, that he averaged 16 points per game his sophomore season, therefore it's going to go up this year. Like, I get to say that then, to that guy, who I would argue is the worst defender that we've seen on a Bulls team in a long time. And we've had some horrible defenders on this Bulls roster over the past 7 seasons. Like, that's saying something. So, you gotta try. Like, you have to try on defense. I'm not asking you to be a good defender. I'm asking you just to try. He's not trying right now. The bar is down here. He is playing way below that. So I throw this question one more time to you, everybody here in chat, as stream is gonna be ending soon here, because I did say it's only gonna be an hour long. Who starts on Sunday for this game? Bulls play the Rockets on Sunday at the United Center. Rockets are 8-4. They're off to a pretty decent start this season. West, honestly, a lot of the West teams are off to just a better start than the Eastern Conference teams. But who's starting on Sunday? Is it Ayo Dosunmu or is it Josh Giddey? Because honestly, I don't know. I'm being dead serious. I don't know. I don't know who's starting. I don't know who's starting on Sunday. And that was something that I did not expect to say. I was not expecting to say that at all this season. I thought that no matter what was going to happen this year, Billy Donovan was going to play Josh Giddey like at least like 28 minutes a night, no matter what. He may not close every game, but he's starting every single game. And right now, like, my prediction was that Josh Giddey was going to start every single game, no matter how badly he plays, like, no matter how bad things get, unless obviously he gets injured. I didn't say that he closed every single game. I actually said that I think there's going to be games where Ayo closes over Giddey, but I did not expect to see at the start of the third quarter Josh Giddey sitting on the bench. That was not in my... at no point did I ever think that was going to happen this season, and there was no way in hell I thought it was going to happen in the 13th game of the season. Like, no way in hell. And it's happening the 13th game of the season. So and obviously, sorry, IL similar to Josh Giddey's second half because Giddey's and Kobe White's foul trouble, and Kusuma has been good at pushing pace. Interesting. Well, it's just I find this odd because Giddey had 3 fouls and coming into the second half, but Kobe White also had 3 fouls. So Giddey was benched, and Kobe White still started that second half with 3 fouls. So I just find it interesting. I'm just like, huh. Like, if you bench Josh Giddey due to foul trouble for having 3 fouls, then why isn't Kobe White also benched? Because he also has 3 fouls. That doesn't make any sense to me. But I mean, I guess if there is one thing that Donovan can say, it's just like, well, I don't trust Josh Giddey to play without fouling quickly. As we saw, as Josh did check in after I picked up his 4th, Josh immediately picked up his 4th. So I guess that might be Billy's argument. So we got confidence. I got confidence in Josh in certain situations. Josh will be closing. Interesting. Yeah, and here's Yeti's quotes. I wouldn't have played myself if I was Billy either. I was bad at both ends. Well, at least he's aware of it. Yeah, it's honestly just play better. Unfortunately, the spotlight is on him. The spotlight is on him. He's asked for it. Like that's the thing. The spotlight has been shined upon him because he's asked for it. So you can't shy away from it. You're the one that asked for the trade. Or again, I'll rephrase that. Thunder want to move him to the bench. He's like, I want to go to a place where I can have the ball in my hands more. So they came to an agreement. Notice that Jokic lost to the Pelicans last night overall. No way. Are you serious? Oh my god, man. The Pelicans, like, I think the Pelicans are already screwed for the season, but that's actually crazy. Wait, what the hell? How did this happen, bro? Yeah, Murray played. Huh. Yeah, no. This shouldn't happen. I get no Jokic, but, like, hello? Like, Murray's still here. Porter's... I guess no Aaron Gordon is a big hit, too. So, yeah, you know what? It's a wash at the end of the day, I guess. I mean, I know no Zion, no CJ McCollum, no DeJounte Murray. I get it. But you're missing an MVP here and Aaron Gordon. So, I'll say it's a wash. Still, though, I mean, it's a little bit surprising at the end of the day. This is come down to how many clutch games Bulls have this year to see who plays the majority of the minutes, but all I ask for Billy to do is not play the guys who are struggling. But here's the thing, though, Rob. Like, there's one player that, let's say Io's struggling with a shot, you know that he's still an effective defender. If Josh Giddey is struggling with a shot, I don't really know what else he does besides being a good passer and decent rebounding, right? But he's not playing the other side of the floor, right? If Io is not hitting a shot, but Giddey is hitting a shot for like a certain extent, right? Is Io still the more valuable player? Just because you can play defense and you know that he's a good ball handler that can push the pace? Like, even if the shot's not going down, right? Like, I'm just saying, that's kind of the argument that's happening right now. Because people are like, well, Giddey's shooting better or whatever. It's like, he may be shooting well, but because of his lack of defense and his lack of consistent three-point shooting, right? Like, he may be shooting well for that game, but in the end, is Io just still more effective as a player just because he plays defense and scores efficiently on the inside? Like, I'm just saying. So, sure, like, it's go with whoever's not struggling, but at the end of the day, it's not like these two guys are like, it's not like we're talking about two guys that take a lot of shots. So you're probably just going to roll with the guy that you trust on the defensive end of the floor, which is always Io. So it's a hard read. Nuggets without Jokic or Barley entering the lottery. I mean, honestly, I guess I agree. I had to really think through that because I first off, no Aaron Gordon's huge, but yeah, I mean, without Jokic, I've always said this though, like about teams like that are structured a certain way. Like for example, when it was the Cavaliers team with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, there was always games where people were like, when LeBron like sat out for, you know, like is the rare games that he missed in Cleveland with that team. Whenever LeBron sat out, like people would always be like, hey, why isn't Kyrie playing better? Or like, why didn't the team win even though Kyrie had like a pretty decent game? Why can't the team be a good team without LeBron? Because people are like, well, Kyrie's supposed to be the guy who takes the keys to the car. He's supposed to be this good player. Like, and first and foremost, like obviously LeBron James is LeBron James, but I've always said this: whenever you have like that sort of player on your team, the team is built around them, right? And so you can honestly say the same thing about like how the Bulls and with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, right? And Vooch, where it's like the Bulls, when they had DeRozan, like they play a certain way, and then without DeRozan, the team's so structured around DeRozan that like when they're without DeRozan, they still play the same way. Like it's not tailored towards whoever's the best player is for the Bulls that night. It's tailored towards DeMar DeRozan. Same thing with LeBron and Kyrie. It's like when LeBron's out, you're still tailored towards playing with LeBron. That team is built around LeBron. It's not built around Kyrie. And I've always like said that. And so yeah, like so for the Nuggets, obviously they're so built around Jokic. Like in every aspect of everything is built around Jokic. And so obviously when you're missing literally the guy, you may have like good players like Jamal Murray if he's right, which I don't know if he is still, and MPJ, which a lot of people talk about. But if you're not built around those guys, right, then and you're built around having an MVP, like you're not gonna succeed. You're a worse player overall. Even if you have the talent, like you're just gonna be worse. Because you don't have like your literal piece to the engine. So yeah, I just want to make that clear because I think that the Villa team are full of role players because they got no all-star support. Probably the best player in the league. I remember getting multiple superstars around LeBron. This is not a good comparison. Okay, no, Fox, listen to me. I'm saying right that the with LeBron on the team, right? So this includes obviously the superstars, quote unquote, which people have always said Jamal Murray is like an all-star first and foremost. But still though, like we're talking about like Tristan Thompson or like the Chris Andersons along with the Ray Allens in Miami, the Shane Battiers, okay, the Mario Chalmers of the world, right? We're talking, these guys are all built around a system that has LeBron at the forefront, okay? So the J.R. Smiths, the Iman Shumperts, the Kyle Korvers, okay? So whenever then LeBron is out, right? And it's like, hey, Kyrie, like, hey, you gotta. What do you mean? Is he though? What do you mean? Fox, you're saying that those teams are not built around LeBron? Like even the superstars, they're not built. You're saying that they're not built around LeBron? Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love is legitimately like building around LeBron James, is it not? Oh, okay. You're saying people say Murray should be an all-star. I'm saying way before them, and obviously not now. Not now. Definitely not now. I don't think he's playing well enough now. But my point is that when you have a team built around guys, like when you have a team built around like a core like person, and then that person sits out, but it's like, well, we still have Kyrie and we still have Kevin Love. We should still beat this team tonight. And it's like, well, the team's built around that player. So it's like, it's harder for that team to still function and be good, even if you have no talent, right? Now, with with the Nuggets, for example, like you have MPJ, who people talk about a lot, including U-Box, right? And people have talked about Murray before, which I agree. I don't think he's playing that well. But not only that, these guys then on the roster, the role players, they're not gonna have that good of games because they're built around Jokic. Like that's how it all works. So a lot of things get thrown off. And so I'm just pointing it out. Like that's the reason why I'm like, oh, okay. Like the Pelicans are at the bottom of the barrel because they're playing guys that you could argue should be on two-way contracts right now. And you can even argue like guys like Javonte Green should probably, like, I mean, I love Javonte as much as I do, but I mean, hell, you're playing this dude 26 minutes a night at guard. That should never happen at any team. Like, we're talking about bottom of the barrel guys, and it's like, well, how the hell did the Nuggets lose this game like without, you know, like no Zion, no CJ, no DeJounte? I'm like, well, yeah, hello, like these guys aren't exactly gonna be like playing amazing without like the guy. Like we're talking about the guy that literally runs the engine. The Pelicans obviously are missing that too, but I'm just saying that like these guys, like maybe some people are be like, oh, this isn't that bad of a overall roster. It's still overall pretty. It's not great, especially Murray's not doing great, but it's honestly like if you really think about it, it's probably like 5 times worse just because you don't have Jokic out there, and everything is built around Jokic. And it also works then for the flip side, because it's like people think like, well, if this roster doesn't look that amazing, but then it's like Jokic is that good that he's gonna make those other guys be more valuable to that team, right? So, a guy like Christian Brown, for example, like I think a lot of people are like, well, yeah, he's not anything special. Like, sure, he put up 15 tonight, but like people look at him like he's not anything like amazing. But with Jokic there, like suddenly now you're looking at a guy that's like could be actually like a seriously valuable piece. I think a great example of this right now is a guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in Orlando, where he's having a rough time. Like he's not exactly shooting the greatest at the moment, but like he's obviously making that major switch of being next to Jokic to then now he's not. So he has to like make that adjustment. But Jokic kind of like makes, you know, a guy like KCP look really good. Because he is Jokic at the end of the day. Now, KCP now needs to kind of work around, you know, the roster there, but you don't have Bankera for a while, and Franz hasn't exactly had the greatest season in the world, so yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a ramble to say that like this is like a wash in terms of how like who's better than who. It's just like, and now I don't know who's better. Sure, the Pelicans arguably have the best player on the floor tonight. In Brandon Ingram, but people have always told me about this guy, so I'd still probably choose Ingram for now. But you know, just saying, like people also have always said like Ingram's not as good as you think. And then we're talking about guys, man, that are just like none of these guys should be played. No disrespect. A little shocked at this act, by the way. Why is Daniel Tice not playing anything? That's interesting. But dear Lord, man, the Pelicans are seriously at a horrible spot right now. I don't know what the hell they're going to be doing. Yeah, for the Nuggets though, like every game matters at this moment, man. I mean, where are we at? So 12 through 1 is separated by 5.5, but like 4 through 12 is separated by 3.5. Like, dear Lord. Phoenix has no Kevin Durant for a little bit, so it's just like every game is so crucial in the West. Every game matters. So like the Minnesota Timberwolves, when they lost to recently, they lost to the Trailblazers twice, I think, right? Like that's bad. You can't lose like that. In the West, like every game seriously matters. In the Western Conference. And the fact that we're just like we're seeing games like for Minnesota, they just drop randomly. Like that just can't be allowed. Yeah, like mean, look, they lost 2 games back to back to Portland, and they're on a 3-game losing streak heading to Sacramento tonight. Like that's just this sort of stuff, bro. Like, I don't know how anybody is a Western Conference like fan or a fan of a Western Conference team and not like having a heart attack every night. Like every game is like, honestly, it feels like it's like life or death. Like literally every game is so huge, and not to mention then obviously it's the NBA Cup tonight, so like point differential is like humongous tonight. Like everything seriously matters tonight. Even hitting like a 3 or making every free throw matters tonight. And you're like, oh yeah, by the way, like we have to like win tonight. Yeah, I don't know, bro. This sort of stuff is just insane just to look at, because the West has been kind of doing this for a while, and you're like, man, it doesn't get any easier each year. It's just like, yep, we're right back here. Once again, for reference, so the Dallas Mavericks are 5-7, and they're 12th right now. So 5-7 right now would be 8th in the Eastern Conference at the moment. But let's just do 6-6 though. So 6-6 for the East is 4th for the New York Knicks, and we're looking at 9th for the West. Like, dear Lord. Yeah, this is insane just to look at. I don't know when Cleveland will ever lose a game. I honestly don't. Yeah, I'm gonna have to like, I need somebody, and honestly I could probably just look it up pretty quickly, but like I want to see like at the end of the year of just like a graph of like the East versus West matchups, right? And I just want to see if like, and maybe we could just go like team by team or whatever. I don't know how we would do it, but it just show like, okay, here are the matchups, and here's what happened. Like I just want to see the net rating. Like I want to see everything in how those matchups went, because we at the end of the year it really should be like so heavily West favored that it's insane. But I just want to see how like everything looks. I want to see all the advanced stats, the net rating, the point differential at the end of the year. I just want to see it, because if this keeps up right now, where we're gonna have, you know, 4th seed on down at 500 or worse, like that's gonna be a ridiculous year. I don't think that's gonna happen. Obviously, I think we're gonna have at least 4 teams above 500. Again, at least 4 teams above 500. But if this continues though, where we're just like, yeah, 500 or worse from 4th on down, you're just like, oh my god, how much did the West beat up on the East this year? I just would love to see it. All Eastern teams, they're like, are you in the flag sweepstakes? They're like, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, bro, if you're Philly or you're Milwaukee right now, you do not want to be in those flag sweepstakes at the moment. Like your picks are, you don't have any picks, honestly. Niners top 14 protection on their pick, yeah. Miami, I don't think Miami's like actively ever tanking, especially with Eric Spoelstra and Jimmy Butler there. But it'll be interesting to see what they do, for sure, because like they may pull. Let's say, for example, like for some reason they're like at the 11th seed or whatever coming in the year. They may just be like, yeah, let's not try to make the play, and we'll just be bad for this year, and like we'll intentionally like lose so that we're guaranteed in the lottery, because that's their pick, right? And we'll just get the lottery pick or whatever and see if we look out. Bulls going into 76 having injury issues. Oh yeah, I mean the Bulls haven't played the 76ers yet. I'm very interested to see how that's going to work out. But yeah, but I mean you can also make the argument that like that's also bad because like the Bulls have played the Cavaliers twice, but we have not faced the Celtics once. Um, so that's also just something to keep in mind. And also, as Box has said, we play down to our competition, so we will always if everyone's out, then we play as if everyone's out, and we're just like, yep, okay, cool, great game, everybody. We're just gonna play down to our competition. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all checking in. I need to go to sleep. I'm so tired. Um, yeah, crazy loss. Entertaining game tonight. No film breakdown. I don't really think there's anything really to discuss. Um, defense obviously bad. First quarter, 49 points given up. Incredible shot making, but we have a Josh Giddey storyline to follow. So next game is Sunday. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'll say 50-50 for now. This will be 50-50. I know it's Sunday and football, so 50-50 for now on if we're gonna be I'll be streaming after this game, but obviously the game will still happen. So appreciate y'all coming in, checking in on a Bulls L. We had over 70 people in the stream tonight, so I appreciate it. If you have not already hit the like button on the stream, helps me out a lot. And get some rest, honestly. I know it's the weekend now for you guys, but it's not the weekend for me just yet. So I need to go to sleep. Yeah, I appreciate it. Whenever we get the news, I just want to make this clear. Whenever we get the news about whether Giddey is starting or not, I'll tweet about it. I'll put out my thoughts about it. So just be on the lookout for that. In case if I don't stream after the game. Thank you, y'all. I appreciate everyone checking in. It's been a lot of fun this season. I'll see y'all whenever I do see you. Peace.